as we were discussing in our previous episode, when you have that feminine and masculine in integrity, that whole self, you have, for some, that unbreakable faith. For others, it's an unbreakable way of being yourself with other people. Doesn't mean they like you, but you have open heart, open communication. 4D, 3D, they don't. So they either can go to good therapy and at some point choose to be the authentic self, and then with healthy self worth, they keep moving forward, or again, whenever ascension energies come about, and again, for those who listen to the other episode, they have the people who lead with shame and blame and da 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 da. So those are frequencies of 3D, 4D. It's not going to look good or bad because we are a people that are 8 billion. We have different opinions. Okay, so here's where I am going to share with you, though, the stories of the open hearted and open communication feminine here. So when you have the capacity to maintain integrity, you have also the capacity to know that those who have unfaced fears are not home in themselves, and they use shame, pain, and anger and depression and rejection and all that against you, but it is what it is. So they will run away, run from their feelings and react. And then again, it's a sad story when people don't move into their inner child adult. But there's time and there's plenty of information. So let's always know that there is tomorrow. I'm looking for a quote, though, that I wanted to share because it expresses something about the lovely Shiva. So understanding the forms of Shiva, Bolinath is this one, and it's from Sadhguru's page on YouTube, Sadhguru Sadhana. Shiva is always seen as very powerful being, and at the same time as one who is not so crafty with the world. So one form of Shiva is known as Bolinath because he is childlike. And that makes me also think of Krishna Lila, which also has the exploration of the depths of seriousness with playfulness. So when you're living the spiritual journey, true, because you can, because you live a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self, because you have that earned secure attachment. With earned secure attachment, for those who went to therapy with others, you've maintained secure attachment as you got to go through life, so you don't have rupture. So you don't think of your stories like mine when I share my teenage boyfriend, when I share any of my twin flames, when I share all of this. The ones who think it's tragedy, that's because they feel emotions like the Zen master. So they have, with sadness and brokenheartedness, they use the temporal junction. They're not in the prefrontal cortex doing the inner growth mindset that we talk about. So they don't explore the thoughts and the emotions and then know I'm accepting that I get to deal with something that was unknown, unexpected, unwanted, something that caught me by surprise, whatever it is, but I'm going to stay open-hearted with it, and I'm going to stay with my flow state with it, and that's why you don't have a cut channel from God, faith, universe, love, just being you, consciousness. So you stay online in your prefrontal cortex, which is why you stay soft, flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable. You stay integrated, and you move always more towards integration when you do this mindful living. This way that I'm explaining it. You don't say I forgave, like a little I'm going to hold it against you. Those are the people you'll watch them as they say, yeah, I forgave people. I know. Doesn't it suck? All people, they're betrayers. Look at that. Or something like that. Okay, so it's the energy that tells you where the person's at. Human beings who do not break free from their self-created boundaries will remain trapped in them. Sadhguru, thank you. So when you see karma, you'll know it. And then you'll know when you see dharma. When you see karma, it's not a bad word. It just means it's a person who's living fight, flight. Essentially, again, they're not healing rejection, abandonment, injustice, betrayal, humiliation, shame wounds. They're living with it. And they're wanting to use it with a brave heart stick. So the 4D, they get activated with these, and then they don't process them. The 5D, we instead expand because we process. Okay, good. So now that you have understood we don't have laundry, we have emotions. Here's what happens when you have open heart and open communication, masculine, feminine. A very short story. We'll have more. But as a mystic, you can better bet that there are individuals who will think of people as being able to be good and bad mystics because of the ones who believe in this stuff, because they don't navigate the 5D plane, so they don't understand nobody's inherently good or evil. they don't take seriously the first 3 years of the life of a person and how nobody chooses to have unresolved trauma. So they don't choose to allow their mind to expand to understanding that if I meet unkindness, it's a human being who doesn't know their self. If I meet a liar, it's a human being who doesn't know their self. If I meet any person who behaves like a Cusco, they don't know about biological rudeness and Stephen Porges. When you're empowered with information that is applicable as truth, you know where it is. Okay, so I didn't know any of it, but I got a good guide. His name is Jesus and God. I got the good guide of humble, and then I have also a good guide in the mother that raised me, and I have a twin. So I had the dynamic. This why determined can be used. So my first 3 years of life, again, that's how you'll know where you are at. I have an open heart, and I got to keep choosing it as I got presented with the opportunity to have passion and romance. You can thank my teenage boyfriend for giving me all the lessons and opportunities to choose this again and again and again. And also till death do you part, sickness and in health. So knowing how to commit to a relationship when you have people who are different, but to delight in each other and to expand into more of who you are. So Maria didn't change because a teenage boyfriend cheated on me. Maria didn't feel, and I hate talking about myself, I hate dislike, but meaning this human being in front of you, doesn't say, oh no, I was tortured in the past and I'm so upset that would happen. No. 1 month after I got free, I was like, wow, the grown ups lied. I love the same, but my bond with him is completely different. I don't have attraction. I don't want him back. I'm really happy she took him. And also because if it's that easy for you to be taken, it's a good thing. It happens sooner than later, so yay, that's good for me. I'm free to be whatever I want to be and to fall into the arms, no, to meet a person who knows how to be a true, in my case, man. And that is where, when you meet true men, you know that they don't react to polyamory and say, so what? You fuck everyone? No, they don't react. They actually have a conversation, and it's one that is beautiful. It is an example, not mine, but I get the honor to meet empowered men, and smart men are always going to be also loving men and not brutes in any way, shape, or form. The same thing with women, though. Remember, women, men, theys, anyone who's empowered is going to have a stance about them where their communication will not be insulting. It will have this, and it will also have this, but you might not notice this if you don't have healthy self worth. So when we meet Cusco's, it's okay. We know Stephen Porges and biological rudeness. So when people don't have an open heart, their heart wants to be empowered. They want to go home to themselves. But if the human being in front of you decides to do the shame thing and the running away thing, and they choose to follow those people who give them the very good excuse for it, again, as I said, I'm a mystic, so anyone can say she's a bad mystic. There's actively theologians who have informed people that Reiki is a bad energy. As a Reiki master, I do my responsible thing of letting people know who are Christians, hey, FYI, some theologians are going around saying it's not Holy Spirit, that it's bad energy. I want to be responsible and let you know. So if for any reason this doesn't sit well with you, I understand. And we don't have to involve Reiki at all for personal development. We don't have to involve tarot. We don't have to do Akashic record readings either. So here's the information. You get to choose. We can do secular practices because I'm a person who gives you exercises to use your mind. If you explain to people with respect to what is different than what is obviously something, nobody's going to say no. They will understand. You're telling them what it is, and then they say yes or no. And I find that the right thing to do. Even though I don't enjoy closed-minded people, it's my opinion that they're closed-minded. To them, they're not closed-minded. I can respect to understand subjective experiences without making it into a discussion that needs to get charged. That's what equanimity looks like. So you get to practice. It's physical mastery of your mental, emotional, and physical as a piece of pure consciousness. Here it is. It's a human being who knows, yes, I have an ego self. I am who I am, and I don't have to get passionate about it. I could get passionate about it if I wanted to, though. That's why we love passion, though. So again, back to storytelling, where if I bear my soul to you, and I'm having anyone, we've all had those moments, right? So teenage boyfriend, perfect example. We shared 4 whole lives. He knows pretty much everything up till those 4 years. After that, not really. I don't have that much. Depends who we're talking about. So I'm thinking, who knows everything about me? Well, yeah, everybody knows bits and pieces of each other, right? So that's where I was. So long story short, we don't talk all the time. And who I do talk to, we have a good relationship. So her and I, we catch up. So she knows about my clairs, and she knows about my astral travel, and it's really fun. She knows we're soul sisters. He and I don't talk unless she's present, and that's if we're in the same vicinity. So the last time we all got together was at a beautiful wedding, and that was a while back. But yeah, the father knows more about my clairs. I love the father. So I'm family friends. The father, whenever he sees me, he likes to ask me if I have someone. And I already know that he's not going to be very open to the polyamory thing. So I don't inform him of some things. But the consistent question as a parental figure, because that's the part where they think, you're a lady, you're all by yourself, or maybe it's not that, it's just somebody's curious. So I don't find offensive when people ask questions at all. I find it cute. And that's what's going to let you know if you're empowered or not. If you get offended, you remind me of when I was a teenager and I didn't even get offended. I realized that to get offended is silly because I have integrity and you can't prove intent. And why would you get upset so much to where it's devastating you? And so I learned that again as a teenager. I learned everything that I then continue to bring forth. Dharma is a straightforward path, it's expansion. So you don't close your heart. You stay open hearted, you stay authentic, you stay communicative. This doesn't change if you're a feminine because we got the end of the stick of the heart. So I chose to continue feeling deeply and authentically and to process it mindfully and spiritually. No breakage. The ones who have breakage, again, that's 4D, 3D for you, and it's chit chat. And if they go to good therapy, they can process it and then tell us about their post traumatic growth experience. And if they have authentically become embodied, they won't talk about it like laundry. They talk about it like laundry. I know that they still have a hard time with the human secondary consciousness, and that capacity to feel depth weighs them down in a way that has their self is not appreciative. So I'll give you an example. As Sadhguru is describing how expert yogis, they know how darkness is what stays, not light, because we begin with darkness, we end in darkness. Concept that makes sense and that I know as a feminine who is connected, and that already addressed it a while back. Okay, so he's talking about it, and a woman in the audience, I can hear her tone. I'm feeling bad for the woman. She's like, "Stop, Sadhguru, you're scaring us." But I don't know if he noticed, and he's a guru, so he's not trying to scare. He's having a conversation about intelligence, about wisdom, about enlightenment. If you go to the guru and you're there, you're going, and he's not looking to be that. I'm just saying, if you go and present yourself where there's a spirituality human being, like with the Dalai Lama, I'm not really sure what you expect to hear. They're not going to be a person who's, anyways, the wisdom is what I'm saying. You would be understanding that you're going to hear something that you're not familiar with. So I would go in with the understanding and expectation. And again, that's exactly why some people say don't assume. But for me personally, as a professional, within my bachelor's and master's years, and then just as a professional, I've learned that before you go anywhere, you do some research before you present yourself. So you might not have to, so you'll be taken out by surprise, fair and square. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So no perfection, just saying if I'm going to Guru Maria, I'm going to know that they might say something that I'm really like, wow, that's it. I won't be scared or upset. Like with Sabine, she wrote a book, Existential Physics. She gets comments. I can't sleep at night. I mean, I understand they're sharing with the person who wrote the book the opinion, but it's existential physics. What do you think you're going to find? Did you not know you're going to dive into something? The part about how you think and feel. If it's still hard, this means that you are not yet with a window of welcome to the moment of mindfulness where you are in the awareness state. Because maximum uncertainty arises, and that depth creates a lack of self-regulation within your nervous system, meaning fear, sadness, upset. And in that moment, you are, with the focused attention, being able to know with awareness, now bring in the kind intention. And here's why the good therapists involve resources. But resources aren't necessarily going to be enough at a certain point, which is why we have a Zen master with laundry. And that's why he is a Zen master and not in the enlightenment soul age group, and doesn't believe people can maintain enlightenment because he hasn't maintained it himself. This is not a competition, it's an explanation, because I don't have laundry. If I get sad, I get sad. If I get mad, I get mad. It's not going to devastate my life. If you hit me in the face, you won't, because I'll be running away. Or if you hit me, I won't be near you again, depending on why you hit me. But if you hit me figure of speech, don't worry, I'll be able to get back up. I've been hit enough to know that it's not anything. Because hitting in the face means that you, human being or life, sent me a curveball. That I am intelligence because I've learned how to make the best out of it always. And here's that unbreakable faith, which brings me back to God. It didn't change. I just use more words to respect those who don't want me to use that word. It's not because of Maria. It's because I respect 3D, 4D, although I don't like that they're out there. I thought they'd go away. And then I found out why they won't. So, as Sadhguru says, we're not here to affect states of consciousness. In the meantime, the lady in the audience is really upset. And he keeps going. And I'm like, shit, she's so upset right now. Oh, her secondary human consciousness, she's not dealing with it. And that's why the existential psychologists call it a dilemma. And I call it a condition. So, when you do want to do 5D, mystic, spiritual, self-help, mindful living, come on over. I am a mentor and I do master classes. But it's for people who are able to be open-hearted. You're not heavy-hearted. There's no laundry. You create resiliency. Integration, though, is a process and it has its time. So please do understand. That's why you get yourself online first, then you say, do I want to do it? People who have had good therapy, they do this thing called, I don't want to do it, Maria. I don't want to do it personally, but I want life now. That's a choice, okay? So with that, when we are presented with our oversoul, we are presented with the most amazing of opportunities. And no matter what you're going to hit me with, I'm going to get back up. And I really, really find it funny. So I have one story. I don't share it always because it's really private. But I'll never forget that day. And, here's what happens when you're a feminine and you know already that you know some things. You don't know everything. And so when you don't know everything, the only source that you communicate with, it's because you're wise enough to have the awareness that you're expanding. And that's why it's not a post-traumatic growth thing for us. The ones who call their stuff trauma, I understand it. They want to use technical verbiage. A person of faith, we don't have trauma. I remember in one of my panic attacks, I saw in the corner, there was Mother Mary, Magdalene, and Mother Teresa. And I was like, why are you here, Mother Teresa? I don't pray to you. I never even looked into you. I mean, you're here. Great. It's so nice to have you here. But I'm like seeing in this corner, because mystic again, I see angels, fairies. Oh, and I love that one. I was just like, that's so cute. They're up there all together. All the Marys. Well, not Mother Teresa's not a Mary, but anyways, the part about being able to make sense of it psychologically doesn't take away from my faith. So the fact that neuroscientists and my trauma therapists, they teach us all about resources and what happens when people are having panic attacks. So I was not offline. I'm in my prefrontal cortex. That also has an explanation. Dr. Daniel Siegel has the capacity to explain it, and it's something to do with alleles. And I'm like, you know what? I bet you that's my thing with the alleles, that I can feel more depth without going offline, because I'm like a light bulb. So are you. Okay, so when you can feel deeply and you don't go offline, what this means is I have a expanded window of tolerance. And so I'm able to sustain that which I'm experiencing. Doesn't mean it's comfortable, but it means I'm not going to be in alert. I don't go into dissociation. So I don't have any of it. Even when I'm channeling, this is why I had to double check with people that are trusted when I began to understand that I'm channeling different sources. I just don't hone in on them. If I did, I would be able to know who is giving me what messages, but I don't have to do that because I don't want to. It's all one big ball of energy, and the 5D plane brings it all together. Also, it's not necessary because we're not curious about the specifics, uh, because your heart's open. One, when you're sharing, it's out of love. And that's why the channeling for me is where I'm bringing you messages that are supporting what you're already doing. I'm not changing, I'm empowering you through an open heart. And I'm giving you a universal message, and it's one to delight in who you are as you are with passion. If there's romance, great. And if there's this as well, true authority, that's also great. It means I stand as myself. You take me as I am. I take you as you are. And that's what true love, by the way, is all about. It's about people being able to accept each other. And then when we have situations arise, we get to keep talking. We don't end the relationships. We keep on repairing what is a relationship that is meaningful. So the teenage boyfriend, it recalibrated to friendship. And that is why I'm very happy that I was able to make friends with the girl, because she's the most important part of the team. And luckily, she recognizes our bond. To this day, I don't have shit to say. And if I ever did, and when I did, it wasn't about her. I tip my hat because she didn't do anything that I personally found not what a person in love will do. The one thing that I shared at the time was she didn't have to become my friend. That's the one thing she didn't have to do at all, because she would have had him without me being her friend. But I can say that I have a friend, and in fact, this friend gave me a beautiful gift on a very specific day, as I also learned as a 5D mystic, this balance. It's not suffering, it's a balance that I was like, wow, this is the most interesting thing ever. And we'll come back on another note with more stories. But in the meantime, I'm going to let you go. That way it can stay short and sweet. And life always sends us more love, not less. Authenticity, integrity. It is when your gut, it's soft, not a big punch. Your intuition is spot on, but you're open to infinite possibilities, which means you don't close your heart. You don't have a broken anything. You're able to know mindfully that as an empowered person, you're consistently manifesting bliss, love, and life because you choose to expand consciousness. So you choose integration. You choose restorative embodiment. You choose to be self aware, accountable, and regulating in a nervous system that is yours. And if you have any challenge before you do this, you go and have good therapy. You get a good therapist, not the bad ones, the good ones. I have a network. And you learn about yourself, and you learn about your child parts. And once you are a inner child adult and you know about that window tolerance and you can tell, you know how to then bring yourself back online and stay online. And these are very important topics. So we'll have another one again. Masterclass, I do want to integrate some things, but I'm still debating what format to use. So stay tuned. And if you're curious for one-to-one mentorship or the masterclass, it's going to be a closed number. Also, the spiritual retreat is going to be a closed number. Reach out by email. It's not now. I'm planning all of these things. So to be continued. Thank you for stopping by. See you again soon.